Riccarton Wigram Community Board. Mike.
Discusses the proposed speed limit changes. Since I've been sat here, I had a chat with Paul Burden had a chat with me and suggests that maybe after some consideration from Paul's comments, there could be some amendments made to the board's recommendations that make a little bit more sense. I just wonder, through you, Madam Mayor, whether you would like to accept that advice. I just wanted to know if you would accept that offer of... Well, can I ask Mr Burden to come and explain what they are? I do. I'll do my best. Thank you. I'm quite happy to move the recommendations from the board, and then I'm quite happy to invite Paul Burden to come and. That's what I was asking through you, Madam Mayor, if you would ask and be willing to invite Mr Burden to the table. Thank you. Now, with that in mind, we did have the proposed speed limit changes proposed by staff, and at our meeting we decided that we felt that the development in those areas that are sort of semi-rural are happening at such a speed now that by the time virtually the speed limit proposed speed limit changes goes out for consultation and comes back and actually the signs get put up, a hell of a lot more development would have taken place. So what we felt as a community board is that instead of acknowledging or accepting the City Council staff's recommendation on some aspects of the speed limits, that we actually, knowing what's happening in the very near future, that we actually reduce those speed limits now rather than later on once the developments have taken place and people have brought and built into an area and the speed limits are seen to be too fast and too dangerous.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff are a little bit concerned with that approach. That's my first point. The second point is that there are some recommendations that have come from the Community Board that are going to be impracticable for us to implement. And if you want, I can talk more specifically about those. Horsell Junction Road, Wincops Road to Alveston Drive, the board are wanting us to make that 50 kilometres an hour. Well, that would be between an 80 kilometre an hour and a 60 kilometre an hour existing speed limit, so that wouldn't make a lot of sense. So we would suggest that would be 60. Wincops Road, south of Quaifs Road, the board are recommending that that speed limit be 50 kilometres an hour. I actually believe that's an error because Wincops Road, south of Quaifs Road, is a wholly rural environment. There's no residential development existing or proposed, so I think that's actually an error. Making that section of road 50 kilometres an hour would be
that particular section, I'd accept Paul's advice on that one.
Cashmere Road, Happy Home Road to Odering's Nursery, the board are recommending that that speed limit be reduced from 80 to 50. Given the rural nature of that road, we suggest that that is going to be impracticable for us to manage operationally, and we suggest that 60 would be more appropriate if it is to be reduced at all.
Yes. I think it's a big improvement, Madam Mayor, on what we've got now. And I think this has still got to go out for public consultation as well, but I think that's a lot better starting point.
Just going back to my first point about proactively lowering the limit in preparation for development occurring, and that relates only to Awatea Road entire length, where the board is suggesting that be reduced to 50 kilometres an hour now prior to development occurring. We would find that difficult to operate and manage as well. We would prefer to keep an eye on the development. Once the development reaches a level where we believe the operating speeds can be lowered and the police can enforce that, then we would suggest the lower limit.
Can I comment?
Yes, you can.
Absolutely. No, I'd agree.
Correct.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
May I ask staff, but how about the Wigram rule and the Matic rule? Because the community board we reviewing here, they prefer the 80 change to the 60 and 80 change to the 50. These two rules, did you agree?
Yes.
We agree, okay. So you mentioned particular is only the Horseway Junction rule and the Windcorp rule and also the Cashmere rule. Correct. Follow your recommendation. Okay, thank you.
Those changes, so can I suggest that we move this, that Councillor Chen moves, and I'm happy to second with those changes, and you're happy with that, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, can I put that, clause 1? Yanni.
Can I just ask a question of process? Because it was interesting looking at this report versus the Hagley Pyramid one. I wasn't aware that we could add streets in to get considered, but this clearly seems to be what this board has done. So
yeah.
Is that okay for us to do as well? Because Paul and I will have some that we would bring up.
What happened, point of explanation, what happened was the speed limit review came to our board. We asked for it to be expanded to cover a wider area. So there's actually two processes happening and they've got a little bit mixed up. But I'm sure that if we pass this resolution today with the proposed amendments, that's not going to cause any great issue.
Be clear on that, Yanni, that these were issues that affected quite a number of areas. Obviously, this is a very fast-growing area of the city. There was a view from traffic engineers that we should perhaps wait a bit longer. There was a clear view from some residents who spoke and from the community board members that it was really important that the speed limits were lowered as the city expanded and that they were dangerous where they currently were. And so they have added to the list, and as we understand it, that this is quite legal to do, and I would suspect that many other community boards would look at doing exactly the same in terms of the roads that are dangerous around their areas that are worrying them. So I would expect to see more of this from other community boards, especially around fast-growing subdivisions such as Preston's Road. Not that I want to suggest anything. Andrew.
Again, just a question to make sure that what we've got in the recommendation that's been moved and seconded actually reflects the discussion that we've had. Windcorp's Road south of Crafts Road, there was a discussion there where Paul put up that was more suitable to remain as 80, and Mike was asked the question, would he be happy with that, and answered yes. We've still got 50 on the recommendation there.
Yes.
Yes, Windcorp's Road south of Quaifs should be 80, not 50.
Yeah.
That's Horsell Junction Road, Windcorps to Elveston.
Yep. Hard for Paul to see with his ageing eyesight. So we're changing Hallsville Junction Road to 60?
That one to 60, is that what you want?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Comfortable with that?
Hallsville Junction to Quaifs,
Yes, that
60.
for Wincops Road, we talk about Wincops Road?
50, still 50. Down one, that's 80.
Correct.
So by here,
That's correct, as yes.